Good morning and welcome to the debate show. I'm BA. I'm here with James Martin and Jack Hirsch as usual. I hope you fellas are doing good this fine morning in December. Jack is nice and warm, so we'll leave him alone. I'm cold. I don't know what your temperature is there.
Yeah, you're cold, and the Detroit Lions are playing pretty coldly as well. I mean, I think I could start. I could hit the ground running.
He's taking jabs at me already. See, you know.
Well, I can't pick on
warm up for the debates.
I mean, listen, the Saints have won a couple more games than I thought, so I can't pick on them. So I got to kind of.
Well, I mean, Jack, you do look like you're sitting there in the chair in Florida. Like people that are behind the camera are probably getting ready to take some orders from you, sir, to go whack somebody. You look like you're part of a mafia organization there, sir. I mean,
the Don.
I have on my law enforcement thing here. Come on. FDNY.
I see. All right, I see that there. But I mean, sitting there with the bars behind you in the sunlight, man, I don't know. You got your cup of Joe sitting there. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Man, you do look like you're about to give some orders to somebody. But no, I give you credit. If you got your your NY fire department FD on, you're a stand-up guy, not a wise guy.
Appreciate y'all first responders. Anyway, all right, so let's get into our debates this morning. Our first question is: Cam Ward has asked to be part of the process when the Tennessee Titans interview coaching candidates. Should the team involve him in the process? Go ahead, James. We'll give you that one first.
Okay. Cam Ward sounds like an intelligent individual if he's asking for that, because that's something you want to be a part of the process. He's letting you know that he's invested in the team, and he was taken number one overall. He was taken number one overall. I don't want to be a bust. If I'm Cam, I don't want to be a bust. I don't want to be a player that's going to come in and just do my best, do what I can, but it's nothing to show for it because I don't have any assets around me. I don't have any weapons around me. I don't wide receivers, no star offensive lineman, no running back there. I can't really do much of what you're trying to get out of me, what you expected out of me, what you watch film for out of me, because I don't have a decent, as well, a leader of men, a head coach. I don't have somebody with a innovative game plan that's going to come in and work with me to be able to. Good morning, Richard. To be able to succeed and bring wins, because at the end of the day, like Herm Edwards says, you play to win the game, and you can't do that without a competent head coach. And Cam Ward, I mean, again, being taken number one overall, you see what he's done. I mean, he went to Incarnate Word. He was a stud there. His coach, Eric Morris, was his coach there at Incarnate Word, and he followed him when he became the OC at Washington State, and he had success there as well. And then, of course, he went to Miami. He had a great coach in Mario Cristobal, and they had a great season there, 10-win season as well. So, and his numbers are astronomical on all three fronts when he was there. But again, good leadership matters. And I think that and also he was told by the vice president of operations, the president of operations, and the GM that he can send in and talk to them. And he's quoted and says, "I want to meet all of them. Whoever comes in." It just makes sense. Again, it just tells me this is a sign of someone he wants to be able to see what this person is going to be, how they're going to present themselves to him. And this is the person for the foreseeable future. If you have a successful guy, we're talking Cam Ward 10, 15 years as your franchise quarterback. So hopefully, if you're going to be winning, you want a coach that's going to be successful and be there for the long term as well. So I have no problems with him wanting to interview, being a part of the interview process with the coaches. So I think it's the right thing to do. And again, if the GM and the president of operations saying they want him to do it, then I'm with it as well.
You got to be kidding me. Cam Ward, don't tell me what he did in college. I'm not interested what he did in college, and he wasn't great in college. He was the best available in college, best available quarterback to come out of the draft, and even that's debatable. I mean, you were going back and forth who is better, him or Shedeur Sanders coming out of the draft. I mean, and what has Cam Ward done for the Tennessee Titans here? He's treading water right now. I'm not saying he's done poorly, but he hasn't done well. I mean, what's the guy done? I mean, come on, it's his first year. I'm not blaming him. He's a young quarterback. He's developing. I'm not sure whether I want him there 5 years from now. I know I want him to be my quarterback for now. I'm moving forward with him for now. Hopefully, he's my future quarterback if I'm the Tennessee Titans. Not to sit in on an interview with the coach. He's going to have hiring responsibility. Are you kidding me? That creates an immediate conflict with the coach. Any move he makes, oh no, I've got to be very nice to Cam because Cam got me my job here. Cam has some say. Hey, while we're at it, why don't we consult with Cam whether the coach should ever get fired if they get off to a slow start? What do you think, Cam? Should we stick with him? Should we fire him? Should we move on? Cam Ward gets ticked off. He goes to ownership. Get me another coach. Are you kidding? Him part of the process? Listen, once in a while, yes, you can have a quarterback as part of the process, but he's got to have an amazing pedigree. If it's Josh Allen and the Bills are looking for a new coach, I absolutely make Josh Allen a part of the process because if any new coach comes in and he's going to mess with Josh Allen, I don't want you. I'm on Josh Allen's side because Josh Allen has the pedigree. He performs. He's a team guy. We know what he's about. A rookie like Cam Ward, are you kidding me? Him being part of the process. You know what Cam Ward is? You talk about Cam Ward to the prospective hires. Who you're going to hire about Cam Ward. How do you plan to use Cam? He's part of the conversation, not him directly, but about him. And then when you hire the new coach who seems to be on board, yeah, Cam is this, Cam is that. I'm going to work great with Cam. Then he meets Cam at the time. He meets his new coach. Listen, great coaches and great quarterbacks get into conflicts. Look at Dan Reeves and John Elway. They went to 3 Super Bowls together, but they couldn't stand one another. And you know, it happens. I mean, quarterbacks and coaches are going not to see eye to eye, but they're still going to be successful to a degree. On a limited basis, yeah, once again, I'm just going to wrap up. You can have a quarterback and a coach. You can have the quarterback sit in and be part of the process and the coach being hired, but that quarterback better be iconic. He better be outstanding. He better be untouchable. And if you think Cam Ward, based on this rookie year, is untouchable, then the Tennessee Titans are in bad trouble.
I'm not basing him on his rookie year. I mean, that's unfair to base it on his rookie year when the cupboard was totally bare around him. There's nothing you can really say that would to give him success in any way, and he still fought hard to be successful in this year. So there's like we're talking about what's his name, C.J. Stroud or Jaden Daniels. They had stud wide receivers to be able to help them out in their rookie year. Bo Nix had Cortland Sutton. There's not even a Cortland Sutton there in Tennessee. So you really can't judge him on his. I mean, there's got to be something that they like. They took him #1 overall, and of course, the numbers that he put out in college are a lot better than what you're saying. And when they were in Miami, if Miami had a defense, it was basically on Cam Ward to put them where they were, because if they had a really decent defense and they beat Syracuse, we're talking about them in the playoffs, and we're talking about Cam Ward in a different light. So Cam Ward scoring a lot of points with the points that he put up on the board, they should win games. So Cam Ward is definitely deserving of being able to at least have a say in who's going to come in, because he's used to winning. He's used to winning, and they can't win right now because of what they have. So, I mean, and he trusted in Coach Callahan when he was there. He even confided in him and said, I'm going to do my best to make sure that this coach stays here in the summer. But there's nothing he could do. The offense is just horrific. There was nothing around Cam. And I'm not going to say that he didn't make mistakes, but, I mean, oh, my goodness. When you look at their draft board, when they say what they need interior offensive lineman, they need offensive tackle, they need wide receiver, they need cornerback and edge. It's a lot there that they need, Jack. I call you Mac. Rest in peace, my man. I miss you, buddy. But I just really think that you're giving Cam a really hard time. And I think that is still, again, he's used to winning. He's used to winning. And I think if he finds a guy that's similar to, I mean, he didn't even say what he was looking for. He just said he wants to make sure that there's somebody that's going to be coming and be a leader of men. That's it.
Can you imagine Caleb Williams, the back quarterback who went #1 overall in the draft the year before Cam, was sitting in on the meeting, interviewing Ben Johnson. Well, what do you plan to do this? What do you plan to do that? Caleb Williams had no say as far as who the next quarterback was going to be. That would have been ludicrous, to allow Caleb Williams to make a choice. And it's the same with Cam Ward. It's got to be, I'm just going to wrap it, it's got to be a unique situation. It's got to be a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen, guys who are absolutely untouchable. We don't know with the vast majority of quarterbacks, whether they're going to be the quarterback 3-4 years from now. That they'll probably be like a CJ Stroud, of course. But a quarterback has to have a tremendous pedigree. It's got to be a Peyton Manning, a Tom Brady type. Michael Jordan in basketball picking his next coach. The Milwaukee Bucks want to keep Giannis happy. They could make him part of the process. I mean, stuff like that, but not Cam Ward. Are you kidding?
Oh, come on. You just mentioned Josh Allen in the beginning. Josh Allen, first of all, he was throwing a whole bunch of interceptions. We didn't know what Josh Allen was going to be until a couple of years in. So,
I mean, not when Josh Allen was
that's my point. You can't compare the two. You can't compare the two, because we're talking about, if you have to compare apples to apples, sir. If Josh Allen had asked his first year, would you have said that then?
Absolutely not to be part of. But Josh Allen developed. He earned it. Let Cam Ward earn it. Let Cam Ward make the few Pro Bowls and show he's one of the best QBs in the league, and then fine. And then in the future, he can sit in on the meetings. Absolutely. If he establishes himself as one of the top quarterbacks in the league, yeah. I'm talking about his current sense as a rookie.
Okay, fair enough. I still respectfully disagree. I think he should be able to do it, and I'm going to pass it over to my man downstairs.
I'm downstairs. I don't know how I should take that one, but anyway, I agree with both of you, actually. Mainly because if they gave him the green light to sit in and go through the process of hiring the coaches, getting his feedback from it, then who's to say? I mean, if he's got the green light, he can do it. But overall, being a rookie, it can come back and bite you in the behind, because if you think about it, if he has the ability to have input to hire a coach, and he hires a coach, or they hired a coach that he feels that's going to be best a motivator for him as a quarterback, and they fail down the road, guess what they're doing? they're getting rid of a coach and a quarterback because they're not doing well. So it's kind of like it kind of bites you in the butt. But if it turns out well, you could be really good at it. But I kind of side with Jack in that area because I think once you become more of a veteran, like Josh, I think that's the key word we have to use here, veteran. I think veterans that have had success, and if a head coach needs to be hired, they could have a say in that process because they already know the team itself. It's not just the quarterback that he's thinking about. They're thinking about the team. So you want the coach that's going to best fit the team, and who else would feel that way but the quarterback that's been there for 5 or 6 years. So you want that kind of veteran leadership just to say, hey, I think this guy would be a good head coach. I mean, the club could either not do it or do it, hire him or not. They just want feedback to see if it'll be a mesh between them. So I get both of what you guys are saying.
I got a little bit of a compromise on this. He doesn't sit in for the head coach, but when the head coach is hiring an offensive coordinator, you let the quarterback sit in on that. And as the head coach, you'd want Cam Ward to feel extremely comfortable with the offensive coordinator. So you make him feel part of the interview process. He sits down with the offensive coordinators, sees whether, they'll be on the same page and so on. Because when you're a head coach and you get the position for the Tennessee Titans, obviously Cam Ward is your quarterback 100%. And you want to be sure him and the OC are on the same page. Yeah, by all means, I would be good with that. Just not the hiring of the head coach himself.
I wouldn't even, at the position that Cam Ward is as a rookie, I wouldn't even mind because, Tennessee has nothing around him. I wouldn't mind him sitting in player operations where, he can say, well, I like this guy out of this college, this free agent in the NFL, he can work. That I can understand because he has to work with those people and they're trying to make the team better. So the quarterback is the leader. He decides, he should decide, well, not decide, but he should give input to who should be on the team so he can work better with it. That I can get. The head coach thing is a little shaky, but I can get with the player personnel thing. I think that would be good.
Yeah, but that puts in a little bit of a spot on draft night. You like one guy a little more than the other, and you have it hanging over your head who Cam might want a little more. And keep in mind, even the Green Bay Packers, they never consulted Aaron Rodgers as far as the draft went. They never drafted a wide receiver in the first round. They would draft guys in the second round. Imagine they had consulted Aaron Rodgers, with his powerful personality. He would have upset the balance of their draft. They would have kept feeling they had to draft a wide receiver number one.
Well, I mean, it's not a practice that's there's not a lot of that practice going on in the NFL in the first place. You don't see too many people having to say in personal. That's the reason why you have a franchise. You have people that make those decisions. You don't need somebody to come in there and help you make those decisions. But we're saying in a hypothetical situation, if that's where you would want to put a quarterback at to make personnel decisions, he can help. I'm not saying that his word is bond. If he likes somebody in a draft, there's a lot of things that happen in a draft. Sometimes you don't get that guy because somebody else gets him. Or they find somebody that might be better in a position than that guy, the best player available. So, suggestions. I'm not saying go out there and get. That's the guy I want. That's the guy we need to get. Now I'm not talking.
Yeah, I'm going to say there's a lot of things we probably don't know because, first of all, this is something that they put out there in the media. Not everything is always put out there in the media,
right.
And I wouldn't doubt that some consultation is not done, considering that you may have a guy that's there for 10, 15 years. You want him to know that, hey, we while we're making a decision here, we do respect your input and something that you think that you might be comfortable with around here, and we'll make a decision on whether or not we're going to pick that guy or not. But if you mention something that you think you like or that you've seen, I mean, because they can't just go off there. That's what they hire scouts for. They're going to go with scouts, but the scouts may say, hey, this guy may be some guy that Cam may like or something like that. Maybe running by him and see if there's something you want to do. And they're going to, put this name out there. But excuse me, man.
Bless you. happen. But anyway, yeah, I got you. I mean, that's what I'm kind of getting at a little bit there.
Right.
I mean, the
Right.
scouts got to do their job. Everybody's got to do their job. If the scouts are in tune with the quarterback, they find people that will work in tune with him and when they scout him. And that's fine. I mean, I'm sure every team has a different way how they evaluate the players that they bring in. But this is more of the coaching question. Like I said, I'm mixed between both of you in that one. But anyway, next question. Speaking of quarterbacks, who will ultimately last longer into the future as the team's starting quarterback? Shedeur Sanders with the Browns or Quinn Ewers with the Dolphins?
My apology, I misspelled Ewers.
My apology because I didn't fix it.
It's Ewers. It's Ewers, but we have it off the board. No one talks about this. No one talks about Quinn Ewers. I mean, and I've been guilty of it. We keep talking Shedeur Sanders. And, even during the draft, we wondered where Shedeur was going to go, first round and second round, and he went all the way to the fifth round. No one talked about Quinn Ewers going in the seventh round. I mean, I didn't see the sense behind him lasting that long. And I guess who's in a better position right now? I mean, the Dolphins aren't going to be in a prime position to draft a quarterback at the top of the draft. They're 6 and 8 right now, and Cleveland might be. Their record isn't as good, but would they? And who's there to draft anyway? By the time they go, and I guess both guys have 3 games more to show what they can do. And I think that is going to factor into it to a degree. Do you think Kevin Stefanski is going to be back next year? Most people don't think he'll be. So there's going to be a new coach. Is the owner, Jimmy Haslett, going to make part of the criteria of hiring a new coach, developing Shedeur Sanders? Does he like Shedeur Sanders a lot? Is the owner going to see, I don't care whether Shedeur is the quarterback or not anymore. He didn't do that well at the end of the year. If he doesn't do that well going forward the last 3 games. And as far as the Dolphins go, I think Mike McDaniel's coming back no matter what. They got 3 more games. Let's say they go 1 and 2 and finish the season at 7 and 10. I think he's coming back. It's going to be his decision, and I think the owner's going to leave it, up to him. And it's a tricky one. Who has more upside? I think most of us think Shedeur has a little more upside, a little more athleticism, can make some more difficult throws than Quinn Ewers, but Quinn Ewers is a little more steady, perhaps, a little more solid. And I just think the mentality of both franchises, I kind of feel Quinn Ewers is going to do okay these last 3 games. And he's going to be their quarterback, at least start next season. And I think Quinn Ewers could develop into a decent quarterback. So I think he is going to last longer as the Dolphin quarterback than Shedeur as the Brown quarterback, because Shedeur Sanders is kind of like a wild card. I don't know what to make out of him. I think he has a nice future in the NFL, and I could see Shedeur Sanders starting for another team down the road and being their quarterback, because we've seen that happen with several teams. They have recycled quarterbacks. I could see Shedeur being one of them, and I could see Quinn Ewers staying put. So my answer to the question is going to be Quinn Ewers is going to last longer ultimately as the Dolphin quarterback than Shedeur is going to be as the Brown quarterback. But consider this, guys, I'm not talking short term next season necessarily. I'm talking about years down the line. Who's going to outlast who? I'll give an edge to Quinn Ewers.
I can say this is fair, everything you just said about Quinn Ewers. I mean, because Quinn Ewers was successful at Texas. He was a guy that held Arch Manning on the bench pretty much. And I just thought that Arch Manning, I think, everybody should hold off on Arch Manning being the next great thing because he didn't beat out Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers, even if he was taken in the 7th round, he was still the starting quarterback his whole entire career at Texas. And even when he went out with injury, he came back and remained the starter and played well. He had great moments when he was at Texas. They had a couple of 10-win seasons, a 12-win and a 10-win season when 2 of his 3 years there, and he threw for like 3,400 yards, several TDs, 31 in his last season there. With that said, again, he was taken in the 7th round. No matter like Shedeur Sanders, no matter what we think we're better than their position, he was taken in the 7th round to play behind the quarterback that's getting paid an exorbitant amount of money. Now, with that said, Tua is getting paid in 26, whether you like it or not, 54. I mean, total, both 26 and 27 guarantees, 54 million, and there's 3 million in 27 and 15 for a bonus in 26 and 39 or something like that. 39 for his salary. There's no way Quinn Ewers is going to start next season. Now, mind you, we had a situation with Russell Wilson being traded off and where they took an exorbitant cap hit. That's because there was a plan in place. That they had a really good defense there, and it was building still. And there were some pieces on offense he figured Sean Payton can work with, and he knew what he was going to do in the draft. I don't think Miami has that kind of plan. I don't think they have a situation where they can just dump off Tua Tagovailoa and put their cards into a 7th-round draft pick. I don't think it's that situation yet, Jack. So I think you can't, like you mentioned, you can't draft a quarterback. You're not in a position to draft a top quarterback. So Mendoza's out of the picture, and some of those guys are coming back to college. So there's really no deep pool of quarterbacks that are going to be in the 1st round. So you almost they set Tua down because they want to see what they have in the 7th-round draft pick. But to be honest with you, hopefully he better ball out. I don't in the last 3 games and show that he can do something. I mean, but I just don't see it happening. They got to play Tampa Bay after this week. I don't know if that's he's gonna face a lot of trouble there. I just think, like you said, like with rookies with Shedeur, he's playing when he played tough teams like the Bears or whoever else he played, or the Ravens. When you play tough defenses like that, it's going to be tough when you're getting thrown into the fire. But when you have bad teams you play, hopefully, I like to see Quinn Ewers succeed. I just think the money situation is not going to allow him to be the quarterback yet.
Well, you make a great point, but I can counter it.
And let me say this about Shedeur, since I had to finish it. Shedeur, on the other hand, he's beat out Dylan Gabriel, and he's they can't draft. I mean, they would have to draft a quarterback in order to say they're going to do something different because they're already on the books. They can't get a free agent because they're already on the books for Deshaun Watson. So that's another thing. They got a ton of money invested in him. And so you got 2 rookies on the books already. So I just think that for the cheap, short term, I think Shedeur Sanders is going to be be the starting quarterback longer than Quinn Ewers will be the starting quarterback in Miami.
Well, that's how I was going to respond to your point, which is a good point. Tua is getting paid all this money in 2026. So it's hard to start Quinn Ewers and keep one of the highest paid quarterbacks on the bench. But it's the same situation at Cleveland with Deshaun Watson. They're paying him a ton of money, and to just keep him on the bench, it's going to be difficult. If nothing else, the Dolphins and Browns are going to want to showcase Tua and Deshaun Watson to see can they get anything for them, or can they get rid of the salary, at least part of it. So there's a lot of moving pieces involved, but the situation is the same for both Ewers and Sanders in that regard. High-priced quarterbacks were getting paid. Are they going to really play ahead of them, at least in the short term? But again, these 3 games mean so much because if either guy shows a lot, the fan base is going to get excited. And as far as saying, well, Ewers was the 7th round, Sanders the 5th round. They don't have to have much invested in them because they were low draft picks. Well, Zach Wilson, he's on the Dolphin roster, the number 2 overall pick in the draft. It gets to a point, it
He's
doesn't
voiced his
matter.
opinion too.
But it doesn't matter where someone is drafted after a while. Look at the Giants. Jameis Winston, number 1 overall pick in the draft. He's a backup. Marcus Mariota, number 2 overall pick the same year. He's a backup. It gets to the point where you get drafted highly, it keeps you in the league longer. But then it gets to the point where your time is just past. And both these guys are young. Maybe Sanders is going to be the better quarterback than Ewers. I'm not saying that's not going to be the case. I'm just thinking who is going to stay as the starter longer for their team. Right at this moment, Ewers has more or less been named the starter going forward. I mean, we're assuming next year Tua reclaims the position because he's getting paid. If Ewers plays well, you really think, let's say plays really well these 3 games, do you really think they're going to start the season with Tua as the starter, or will they at the very least make it a quarterback competition, Ewers and Tua? And the same with, Sanders. If Sanders plays well, he'll probably be the starter next year with Cleveland if he plays well these 3 games. But, we don't know with the specter Deshaun Watson. What are you going to do with Deshaun Watson? Tell me, they're not cutting him.
They can't.
They can't.
Yeah.
What do you do with them?
I
think they maybe have to play Deshaun Watson.
Well, this may be a situation where they have a little bit of a debacle. Because this may be a situation like Russell Wilson. I don't know. It depends on if Stefanski is gone and another coach comes in and he just doesn't want to deal with the issues and the headache of that. I guess it depends on the situation, but I kind of agree with you there in regards to him possibly playing because, it's just a lot of money invested in him. And it depends on what his recovery is like. That's another thing. Where is his age and what's his recovery? What's he going to be like? Because a lot of athleticism was, introduced in his game, sort of like, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. He was in that ilk of a quarterback, but you never saw that in Cleveland. You never saw that at all. And so the question is he even going to come back the same guy that you wanted out of Texas in Houston? So if Shador is showing you that he can do more these last 3 games, you may not start him at all.
But you make the point, a good point. Who are they going to bring in? If they're bringing in a longtime coach who's seen these guys play in the past, they have this fascination with them, like Mike Tomlin had with Aaron Rodgers. He wasn't looking at the Aaron Rodgers of the Jet regime. He was looking at, I know what this Aaron Rodgers could do. I've seen his greatness up close. I want him to QB my team. And that's the type of coach you might get who remembers when Deshaun Watson was elite, saying, look, he's been hurt. I can straighten him out. This is Deshaun Watson, he'll have that fascination. And look, Mike Tomlin's kind of made it work with Aaron Rodgers, in a sense, because he remembered Aaron Rodgers when Aaron Rodgers was Aaron Rodgers. Even though he's not quite the same guy, he's brought him back to a degree. And that's the thing with Deshaun Watson. Who's going to be the new coach of Cleveland? How well does he remember Deshaun Watson, when Deshaun Watson was great? That I think it's going to come down to that. There'll be more stability in Miami because Mike McDaniel, be continuing in that role. I don't know about Cleveland's a wild card, not just that quarterback, but that coach.
Yeah, I think that Cleveland has a lot of wild cards going on at the end of the season. I mean, with the quarterback and the coach. I mean, to me, in my opinion, I think they'll get rid of Stefanski and bring in another coach. But that means that the owner who kind of handpicked Shador is staying there. That's basically what that's telling me. who's going to be gone. I don't know if Gabriel will be gone. I wouldn't think that he would be gone because he was a 3rd round pick. I don't think you would pick a quarterback in the 3rd round and then just jettison him. And they got Watson. So and be comparative. I know Tua is not the greatest quarterback in his last 3 years, but compared to Watson in that situation, he's better than Watson in those 3 years that the last 3 years, because Watson hasn't been out there in the field. And when he's been out in the field, he's looked poor as a quarterback. And I think, and based on the fact that both of them make all that money, I think that Deshaun would be the one that would be sitting behind somebody because he hasn't proved anything, basically. And when he's gotten a chance to prove something, he didn't prove anything. So Tua, on the other hand, is getting paid that money too. He is a plausible quarterback. I wouldn't say he's a great quarterback. He's a plausible quarterback. Unless Quinn Ewers, he lights up the world in the next 3 games, which I doubt. Tua's going to be the starter next year. So I wouldn't put Ewers in that. I would go more with Shador than with Ewers in that possibility, just because of the fundamentals of both the team. First of all, it's Cleveland, and in Miami, it's not too far from that whole dumpster fire too. So I mean, you got 2 teams that they don't even know where they're going at half the time. So it's going to be a wild card for both. At least we know that McDaniels will stay in Miami. I don't think there's any problem with him. He's kind of proved he belongs there. They're playing for him. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Everything is just all over the place with those 2 franchises. All right. We just had a NBA Cup. Will the NBA's Cup tournament ever approach the prestige of the NBA's playoff finals? Go ahead there, James.
I'm going to say, of course not. It is definitely not something that is going to be any prestige as the NBA finals. We're talking about great NBA finals where you had, let's just go back as recent as 2016. Or last year, Oklahoma City versus Indiana Pacers. That was a great finals. It went down to game 7. There was 7 games here. We're talking about a tournament at the early to mid part of the season where teams are playing each other in regular season games where they implement it so they can get players to play. They get players to play harder than what they're doing. It's not great. And it doesn't give a really good indication that the team that wins that series or wins that tournament is going to go on to the finals, at least go on to the finals. The Lakers, they put up banners and they didn't get anywhere near the finals, when they were there. It's just, it's a gimmick. I think it's a total gimmick, and I think it's flawed. It's in its infancy, but will it reach the prestige at some point? I just don't think so. I think a tournament is something, to me, as you have seen in basketball, March Madness. That's different. That's totally different. You played hard during the regular season, and you got yourself into a tournament. And at the end, one person stands at the top and wins, and everything's done. Now we're going back to regular basketball in the NBA. Once the tournament is done, no one really thinks about the cup, NBA Cup after that. We're trying to move on and see who's going to get to the either All-Star game, and then also the slam dunk competition, 3-point contest, and then moving forward to get to the playoffs. Again, it'll be forgotten by the time you get to the playoffs. Nobody's even thinking about who won the cup. It's just that's the point. I think it's just unless you change. If you were to change the format from the playoffs to a tournament at the end, then maybe I would say that it would take the place of the current NBA Finals by going into a tournament situation, and of course you have a Final Four at the end. But that wouldn't be good. I think the way the situation is now, where you have you win a series, that's better. It's just because it gives the team an opportunity to win even if they were, beaten that one time, it's not one and done. You got a best out of four, or best out of a three in the beginning. No, I think they're all best out of four now. There's no best out of three anymore. I just think that would be. It's just something to pass the time by in the middle of the season, but it's nowhere near has the prestige. I mean, I was glad to see New York do something with that outside of the Thumbgate situation. But I just think that yes, I just think that it has nowhere near the prestige as it or will never have the prestige of what the NBA Finals is.
Once again, James did not read the directions. James probably failed a civil service test or two in his time, not because he wasn't smart enough. James absolutely is smart enough, but he doesn't look at the directions. Will it ever approach? It didn't say equal the status of the NBA Finals. Approach. Of course, the NBA Finals always going to have more prestige, but will it approach the prestige? And the answer is yes, because we're talking about it now. It won't be as big as winning the NBA championship. We can all agree on that. But it does count for something.
I'm going to pause you for a second. You made that question, sir. I wouldn't be talking about this right now.
Right. That's a good point, Jack.
Okay. But the thing about it, there are good ones, James. There are other tournaments as well. Let's look at college, for example. The biggest thing is winning the NCAA tournament. Let's compare basketball, college to NBA. Biggest thing is the NCAA tournament. Well, if a team wins the ACC tournament, for example, and they get eliminated in the NCAA tournament, you could say winning the ACC tournament approached it as far as prestige goes. It's not as big as winning the NCAA, but it approaches it. It means a lot, these tournaments. And it means these NBA Cup tournaments means something to maybe the smaller market teams, not to the LA Lakers who have this amazing history, and maybe not as much to the Boston Celtic franchise. But look at the Knicks who just won it. They haven't won an NBA championship since 1973. I mean, this is over 50 years. They're thirsting for any type of championship. No, the city's not having a ticker tape parade the way they would if the Knicks won the NBA Finals. I agree on that. If the Knicks won the NBA Finals, there's a big ticker tape parade. The city's in a mass celebration, and it was nowhere near that winning a cup thing at all. No celebrations. They're not invited to City Hall, in part because the season's continuing. There's more to be done. There's nothing to celebrate when there's more to be done that season. But how do you define championships in baseball? If a team wins a World Cup, I mean the World Baseball Classic, is it as big as being on a World Series winner? No, but it's still, approaches it in their view, in the view of some, at least the players. Olympic gold medals. Carmelo Anthony never won an NBA title. Charles Barkley never did. Patrick Ewing never did. But they have Olympic gold medals. They should be able to point to that, even though maybe they don't. Look, I won championships. Look, I won an Olympic gold medal. They could say that's bigger than an NBA title if they want, even though we know the competition isn't as intense. But I think it does the NBA Cup tournament for certain teams who win it, how much it creates a buzz, like the San Antonio Spurs, had they beaten the Knicks in the finals, and they're probably a year away from an NBA seriously challenging for the NBA title. The Spurs, that would be my guess, about a year away, even though maybe this would be their year, who knows. I think it does mean a lot. I think it's, let's put it this way, I think it's a great consolation prize, which I wouldn't just disregard.
Think the only thing that I would say to what you were saying when you mentioned small market, so far no small market team has won it, and I would say New York is not small market. they definitely are clamoring for a championship. Like you said, since 1975, they want a championship there in New York.
73, yeah, it was 73, really. Yeah.
73. Sorry. Yeah.
Even worse than you thought. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. But again, as a small market team would be categorized as the New Orleans Pelicans, and they're not sniffing not even an NBA Cup. They're not sniffing the NBA Cup. So I just think that it's going to be tough sledding for any small market team because a lot of the big market teams are the ones that are winning right now. And I just think that, but even with that being said, again, when the Lakers hung up their banner, which is hilarious, they didn't come close to the finals, and nobody's even talking about the Lakers being a NBA Cup
No,
winner.
I'm gonna, call a quick audible, Brian, just for fun. James is gonna get a big kick out of this question. James,
Oh,
you have $1 million waiting for you if you could guess the right one, and if it ever becomes a reality. Who's more likely amongst the New Orleans team to win a championship going forward, the Saints or the Pelicans?
Oh, without a doubt, the Saints. Without a doubt.
Mm.
I think New Orleans is preparing themselves, and when I say New Orleans Saints, everybody, they're preparing themselves to be a much better than they were, and they're building around a second round draft pick quarterback. They're going to build around that guy. I think he's shown me enough to say that that's their guy going forward. Whether or not he's a franchise quarterback, that's to be seen. But I think he is, honestly. I think he is just from what my evaluations of what I've seen. And I think the Pelicans right now, there's just too many uncertainties with Zion Williamson, and they need a new head coach. They need a lot of things. So I don't have a vision of them right now.
Well, Joe
Being
Dumars, I have faith in Joe Dumars, who
I
Brian is
like Joe.
very familiar
Yeah,
with.
I do. I like him, and I like his draft picks that he did for this year.
Derek Queen has been
Fears.
working out.
He's been working out for sure. But time will tell. You need a head coach. I want to see who they're going to get as a head coach. That's the biggest thing. Who's going to come in there and become? We mentioned about Cam Ward trying to find, put his input on leaders of men. Tennessee needs a leader of men, a great leader of men. New Orleans Pelicans need that. They need that there. And so I like to. I can answer that question seriously, or I would give the nod to the Pelicans if I knew who was there. Right now, I like Kellen Moore, what he's doing with the Saints. I like the defense has become under Brandon Staley, they've become the number 11 defense in the league right now, number 11. So I just think they're doing great things, and with the Saints more so. That's a clearer picture to say I would pick them for a Super Bowl before I pick the NBA Finals with the Pelicans.
now, Jack, to your point about these teams, in the NCAA tournament, they played these conference championships basically to be seeded. They count for the conference, obviously. You win a conference championship, you have that on your resume. But that's basically for the purpose of seeding in March Madness. With the World Series, with the World Championship in baseball and the Olympics, those are not in during the season. Those are out of the season. A majority of times for baseball, they're like they're like different entities. That's what I'm saying. We're putting the NBA Cup in there. I don't understand why they're even doing it. If they're trying to get players to be more focused, haven't they played this sport for 60, 70 years? If you're not focused, making the money that you're making and playing what you want to do, or playing with the ball that you want to play, you can't. I'm not making stuff up just to be. I really frown upon that cup thing. It's just ridiculous because nothing comes from it, and I didn't even know who won last year until James told me. So I probably wouldn't have been worried about it now this year if it wasn't for Thumbgate. Other than that, I wouldn't have remembered it either. It's not something I'm going to draw back and say, oh, yeah, I remember when the Knicks won the cup that year. Yeah, okay. Who won the finals? That's what counts. And I think, James, it's a gimmick. It's something to get more. I don't know what they're trying. I can't tell you what they're trying to do. It can't be something to get more money from because it's scheduled games anyway. So, I mean, I'm not getting the whole picture of that. I'm not understanding. That probably ain't going to be. It's kind of like how they've watered down the Pro Bowl in football, where it's now like, touch flag football. I mean, it's going to get to that point where it's just going to disappear because nobody's paying attention. Nobody cares about that. They don't care about that. And it hangs some banners up there. Come on. I'm not feeling that. That's just me. I just don't feel that.
Who was the commissioner before? Who was the commissioner before this one? Before this guy, Adam Silver. Who was the one before him?
David Stern, wasn't it?
Oh, David Stern would not do this. He would not do this at all. Not at all.
There you go. There's a throwing question.
David, you can't say that. I mean, Adam Silver was a protege of David Stern. I mean, yes, Stern.
Oh, well, I mean, Stern wouldn't have done that, though. He didn't do it.
But Stern was literally Stern was the epitome of his name. He was Stern. Right. These guys had to wear suits and everything else. I mean, he changed everything. And Stern, look, people didn't like him.
Don't tell me that. He allowed all that bad boy Piston stuff to go down the thuggery.
He changed it up. He changed them up. He made them change that up. He made them change that.
What do you know team is closest to championship? Let's disregard the Nets, the Giants, the Jets, and it would come down to Knicks, Yankees, Mets, the Bills, all viable. I think the Bills, it's going to be tough for them to win the Super Bowl. Maybe they finally do it this year. If the Bills don't do it this year, I think they kind of drift out to sea. I think the window's really closing on Buffalo. I still think it's maybe open this year. I would, the Yankees always come up a little short. The Mets took a little step back, but their owner has a lot of money. I think the Knicks actually this year, because I think they're favorites to get to the Eastern Finals, and they have a legitimate shot the Knicks at the NBA championship this year, but they might not even get to the finals. The Pistons have improved a lot. Orlando is going to be better. Teams, like the Celtics could be there at the end to regroup, a bit. So who knows?
I mean, I'm looking at it from the fact that you got the Yankees in there. The Yankees are always in that
they're front runner position to get to always getting eliminated in the playoffs.
At least the Yankees been in the World Series last year, weren't they? Not this year, last year.
Well, maybe the Bills. Yeah. Maybe I'll switch from the Knicks to the Bills. The Bills, we keep waiting for them to break through. Will this finally be the year? You tell me.
This could be the year for them because everybody right now, I'll be honest with you, because you have people that are out of their way that were in the way. We're talking about Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. They were always in their way. They were always the team that eliminated the Bills, even in that divisional playoff round in 2021 when Josh Allen played out of his mind and Patrick Mahomes had 13 seconds to get down the field and kick a field goal and win the game. I just think that the path is a lot clearer right now, and he's playing like Superman again. And so there'll be an opportunity for them this year, and they have a great opportunity to get to the Super Bowl and win it, I think. Either to me is the Bills or the Yankees. The rest of those teams are just numbers.
I mean, the Knicks would be my second choice for getting to a championship because they are a very well built team. It just goes to say how the coaching will go for the rest of the year for them. But the Yankees are always in the mix every year, basically. And they don't always succeed, no, but they're in the mix.
Let me ask you, Brian, what I asked James the question. You're being a Detroit guy. $1 million is there for you if you get one right. The Tigers or the Lions, who's more likely to win it all?
Well, considering the fact that they're trying to trade Scooble, that just tells me they don't want to win a World Series.
No, he's got 1 year left on his contract. So if he
gets traded, it doesn't make a difference.
They don't get anything. If they trade him with a year left, they maybe get some nice pieces back.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're thinking about trading him to get some nice pieces, which is ludicrous to me. You never trade, like you say, Jack. You never trade a legacy player. He's a legacy player. He's a guy with a nice arm. He's like what what's his face used to be to us a few years ago when we went to a couple World Series and win, but we went to a couple World Series. Justin Verlander, there you go, that guy. And he's the best pitcher in the league right now. Why the hell would you trade him?
Then you pay him the money,
and you can't even guarantee those pieces. You can't even guarantee those pieces are going to be good.
You make him the highest paid pitcher in baseball history then, and then he's a legacy player. Yeah. He stays with the Tigers.
Yeah.
But it's a bold move. If it doesn't work out, he gets hurt, then, you're paying all that money for all those years. It's risky business.
Yeah, and the only reason I can't, it's kind of like a tie to me. And actually, if you think about it, you can throw the Pistons into this mix too. At this moment, I think the Pistons have a better shot than any of those two teams to make it to a championship. I'm being serious because right now the Lions are going through their phase where, they got to look at themselves in a mirror kind of situation right now. They're on the edge of not making the playoffs. Dan Campbell is I think he took over the offensive play calling too soon. Instead of letting Morton ride it out a little bit and make his own mistakes. They had a winning streak with Morton. They haven't had a winning streak with Dan Campbell. I don't care what numbers he's been putting up, but you're not winning consistently. If every game is the next game and says, oh, well, the Lions are going to lose because they haven't lost two consecutively. Well, they haven't won two consecutively either. So, I mean, what are we doing here? And like I said, the Tigers, they have bad management right now. Ever since Illich, the matriarch of that team, passed away and gave it to his kids, those teams have never been the same since then. Red Wings been sucking. Tigers been sucking. So I can't. Tigers, they ain't going to go to a World Series anytime this soon if they're still messing around with Scooble. So that's what I got to say. Pistons before everybody. What do you think about that?
I couldn't help but think of our friend Mac, how he would have gotten along with Dan Campbell. That would have been an interesting matchup.
You think he would have got along with him or no?
They seem pretty similar.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Dan Campbell is a good coach.
Good guy, good coach. Yeah.
I think the thing with Dan Campbell is he's got to put his ego in check. A lot of those, I think he's done that a lot with the fourth downs lately too. Instead of going nuts like he did with Philadelphia and going for every fourth down, it's like, I can go for every fourth down because I'm the coach and I can go for fourth down. No, that's not the approach you're supposed to take. Play within the game, coach within the game. And then his whole taking over the play calling to me was ludicrous too. You took it away from him too early. I don't know. He's not Ben Johnson. We already established this fact. We're not going to get a offensive coordinator like Ben Johnson, but we have the players to execute what we need to execute. Just let Morton do his thing. If he falls flat in his face, then you make the change. Don't just sit there and snatch those responses. Now, see, Morton's not going to be back next year. You done took the play calling duties away from him. So you just basically said, dude, you're fired. You're not coming back and being an offensive coordinator, or you're going to get reduced into a role. And now we got to look for an offensive coordinator because Dan Campbell was just too fast and doing what it's too hasty. I'm not a big approval of that whole situation. The offense is what keeps this team going. because our defense is hideous right now. Got so many injuries on it. So the offense has to work or his team is not going anywhere. And Dan is just not doing a good – they could have beat the Rams. But he came out with such a different play calling against them. I was like, dude, this what happened between the halftime, you know? But anyway, enough of me going on about the Lions. I hope everybody has a good rest of your day. It has been a good debate show. Thank you, Jack, again. Do a good job, buddy. And we will see you tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock for the big football show. And, of course, 8 o'clock on Monday for Jack and Keith's Weekend Playbook. And at 7 p.m. Monday for Jack and Frank's Gloved Fist. Everybody have a great weekend. Peace out.